All right, I deliberately stopped the video.
My chair's way across the room, man.
I couldn't resist. You got up and danced.
Yeah, I was getting into it tonight.
You were, man. You were. I had Fernando over here dancing to it too, but I saw you get up and start dancing, man. I'm sorry. I had to stop the video. I apologize if there's anybody out there that really likes the intro song, but I had to. That was epic.
Yeah, we horse around a little bit behind the scenes, and what you guys can't see, and he's being dirty, and it got me dancing. I was getting my groove on.
You were, man. You were rocking it. You got to keep moving up there to stay warm. It's cold up there. What is it like up there right now?
We made it into the 40s. Snow is leaving.
I suppose I shouldn't tell you it was 74 here today.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right. I was working on the pool today.
Well, we're giving some people a little bit of time to jump on to the live stream, and welcome, guys, if you're just joining us on Indie Invasion Shorts, and welcome. Say hi so we know you're there, and say you can hear us all good. It looks like we got a couple people watching already. Woo. And these are our weekly live streams where we go for about 30 minutes and we chit chat about anything that comes to mind. If you guys have any suggestions that you want to hear us ramble about, go ahead and you guys can. Here, let me give you the email so you guys can see it. If you email us at indieinvasion@gmail.com with some suggestions, or even you can shoot us a message on Facebook. You know, we'll see it. We'll put it in like little notes. We always have. I have so let me grab it. I got my little notebook.
A million notes.
Well, a million notes and passwords so I can remember how to get to places. And
right.
I put it in there for show ideas. So today, I think with everything popping up online that I want to spend money on, we're going to talk about Kickstarters.
Kickstarters.
Yes. So Kickstarters. Yes, there's a lot of stuff popping up on Kickstarter right now. And I'm having a hard time resisting giving them my money for usually about a year before I see all those minis. I mean,
yep.
I'm a sucker for minis, and it seems like the trend for Kickstarters anymore is, whether it's board game, miniature game, they load it up with not just the like retail versions, but they always have these stretch goals. You know, you get this for free, or you get this as an add-on. Usually, sometimes it's discounted. A lot of times you put in the money for a product on Kickstarter, after the fact, if you got it retail, like on Mac's favorite, begins with an E, ends with a Y, you end up spending double of what you did originally when you got it on Kickstarter. So we just want to talk a little bit about Kickstarter. I mean,
so I want to say one thing I don't like about Kickstarter.
Okay, so a con
with the packages, right? One of the cons, and I'm gonna segue into a company that I think really does this well, and that is exclusives, Kickstarter exclusives.
Okay,
I don't like Kickstarter exclusives just because somebody can bring them to the table, and it's not generally available to everybody. And I get it, and I understand the concept behind it.
Yeah, it's usually a perk for saying like, thank you for investing in us.
Right, and I get that. Sometimes though, it's something that is broken. You know what I mean? It'll break the game, and then it's only available to a few people.
Yeah, it hasn't been like really properly tested with the rest of the game. It's more of like, let's stick this in there.
Yeah. So I personally think that TT Combat is the master of Kickstarter exclusives. And I say that because they do Kickstarter exclusives. However, every time TT Combat goes to a convention, those Kickstarter exclusives are available on their website to everyone.
There is a fair share of board game companies. Like one that comes to mind is Ryan Lockett.
Look, somebody agreed with me. Yes.
Jeremy Stegmaier that made Scythe, and he makes board games. A lot of times he has these exclusives that get unlocked, at certain levels. Well, he's never made those things where outside of the Kickstarter, fans of the game or, people that like the game can't get them from his website.
Right.
So that I do like. I agree with you with the whole, for example, CMON is notorious for this, but they do offer a lot of their stuff at conventions. But if you can't get to a convention, you're kind of out of luck.
Sure.
But in early Zombicide days, I remember they had a lot of exclusives.
Right.
I missed out on those. And to get those now on eBay, I think you would pay $15 during the Kickstarter as an add-on. Now you're talking up to over $100 for
and a child.
Guy. Yeah.
and one of your children. Yeah. Now I think there's some additional exceptions too. So say you have a model and it's an alternate pose. That's cool. That's cool.
Same model, same rules, but just
nothing different. Just maybe an alternate pose. That's okay. But I'm just not a fan of Kickstarter exclusives. It's kind of like if you're there and you're backing it, good on you. Good on you for backing it. But just I think make it available to everyone else. But like I said, I think TT Combat does it great. It's like, hey, here's this exclusive, but you can get it. You just have to wait for us to go to a convention, and then it's available at the store for regular price. So you don't have those guys out there doing exactly what they do with the Zombicide guys. Immediately making them, you've got this $7 piece of molded plastic with a big giant mold line on it, and somebody wants $100 for it. Like, man, that is a really expensive mold line.
And the scary part is there's a lot of people that have that FOMO, that fear of missing out. So they will spend that money on that, if not during the Kickstarter.
I didn't know my disease had an acronym.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's what I'm struggling with right now with the Western Zombicide.
I call it not a disease. I'm a collector.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. You put a little positive spin on it. I like that. I like that. So all of you fellow collectors out there, not addicts, collectors, come be with us. We will feed.
We'll all collect together.
We'll all collect together. That's right. What is Indie Invasion? Well, really, it's a support group for anyone who's interested.
Yeah, and we say that quite a bit.
All the time.
So one of the positive things I do want to bring up with Kickstarter is not only do you get that early access to a game, but a lot of times, like we like to talk about independent games, right? And sometimes these really small companies are, it may be a couple, a married couple or friends or something, and they're working out of their house.
Yep.
That particular game, miniature, whatever you want to support through Kickstarter, may not see the light of day retail wise. There may be just a single printing, whatever the printing requires, of whether it's like 1,000 copies or something like that. And then, one and done. So you may never be able to find it in the wild, and unless for some rare chance you do find it on eBay. But then again, like I mentioned, you're going to have the inflated price because it's after the fact.
Right.
So you do have that for a positive, is you are really, that's kind of Kickstarter in its purest form. That's originally what it was to help that, that underdog, that creator that had an idea. Let's try this out. And then, us as the public would support them by helping them fund it, and getting more or less a dream produced. You know?
Right. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I have a game that I did that with, that I backed for the kids. And I've looked and I haven't been able to find it except on eBay. So, and it's not all jacked up. It's called Monster Dice. And it's literally the dice look like little monsters, and you want to roll with them, getting them face up. And there's a bunch of different ways you can play it. But that was one that I did with the kids, which it's not going to be in retail. And, naturally I had to buy several copies, which, because I knew it wasn't going to go to retail. So I got several copies of it, and I've got a couple of games like that. So, all right. So I got a question for you on top of that.
Okay.
Because you've backed, one or two Kickstarters, right?
Just one or two.
Okay. So that's experienced. That's experienced, I think, if you've backed one or two. So, and you guys chime in the comments on this one too.
I'm doing good this year. So far, only one.
I'm at zero. I got none. However, my starts with E and ends and Y. rocking that one. Rocking that one. In my own defense, I'm getting second edition D&D stuff though, so I can't exactly get it anywhere else.
Yeah.
But this question, everybody chime in on this one because I'm really interested if you've used Kickstarter because I have my own opinion on this. But here it is. Best Kickstarter you've backed for whatever reason. Maybe it was the best game. Maybe it was the best run Kickstarter. Whatever it is, best Kickstarter you've ever backed.
I might have to go look at my list and scroll up. No.
Oh, I don't think we have that much time. You can't go to that list.
It's weird. So with Kickstarter, you do take the chance that the thing will never come to light. You know, it's kind of like I said, it's an investment.
Right.
You're taking a chance of, you know, there's been horror stories of creators taking the money and running.
Right.
I've had things on a couple Kickstarters. Granted, they weren't super expensive. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'm out.
Wait, we're not doing bad yet. We're not doing the bad one yet. We're doing the good one.
We're going to do the good one. So, man, I have a lot of favorite ones and a lot of some that are just meh. I mean, I've gotten in on almost every Zombicide except for the first one. I missed that one. But you know what? I think I have to go all the way back to when I first started kickstarting.
Okay.
And it has to be the Boss Monster card game.
Okay.
And the reason why isn't so much the game itself, and it's still around. It's a great little, you know, card game that you can play with, I think, up to 4 players.
Yeah, one of our local guys is a big fan of Boss Monster.
But it was a game that early on, I want to say 2012 is about when it was. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was a game, one of the first games that I really got into gaming with my son. And he loved that game. So we had so much fun sitting at a table, just the two of us playing that game, that we got off Kickstarter. And at that time, the company was basically nothing. Right. You know, that was their first game. But they were very thankful of their supporters. And that really went a long way of me wanting to play the game. And then playing that game with my son, you know, the memories we created from that. Sure. So I think that would be my favorite one. And, you know, I want to say a loyal customer with them. They've had a couple other things and I've backed them. Not so much that, oh, I like this game, I want to play it, but just out of support for the company.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for me, I see Todd's got one up there. We're going to throw that one up there in a second. For me, it was Olmec Games for the Drowned Earth.
Okay.
Now, everybody knows I'm a fanboy of the Drowned Earth.
That one too. Okay. I wasn't on that one.
I'm a total fanboy. But when you run a business like James runs his business, you can't help but be a fanboy. So about 2 months before delivery date for the Kickstarter, everybody gets an email because James is mad because he's going to be delivering late. Now, mind you, let me clarify that. Late to James means that instead of delivering 2 months early, he's only going to deliver his Kickstarter 1 month early. Now, I'm going to say that again because the word early does not often come in the same sentence with the word Kickstarter. But he was upset because he couldn't deliver 2 months early like he had planned. And when he delivered 1 month early, you open up your Kickstarter with the minis, right? And there's this canvas bag in it with your minis in it with a hand-pressed wax seal on every single one. I'm like, okay, you got me. Hey, whatever you want. You want my money? How would you like me to send it to you? I will send it to you.
That's one of the things I like about those smaller companies is that personal touch. Yes. You know, that was done by hand by an individual and not a machine somewhere in another country.
Yep.
You know,
absolutely. So Todd threw up there. Dice Throne was his best.
Okay.
I don't think I'm familiar with that one. Are you familiar with that one?
I am familiar with that one. Okay. I did a short, our local store, the owner was showing me the game. And this is one of the things I like about Kickstarter too. It's a place for these creators to basically try out ideas that maybe mainstream gaming world, you know, companies won't take a chance on, you know, because it's not like a status quo familiar mechanic, you know, so they don't want to take a chance on it because it's like, well, may not work, it may not sell. Kickstarter allows these creators to try out these different concepts.
Right. Oh, dang it, Todd. Why did you do that, man? Because, we record these things at our computer. So naturally, my good friend Google had to help me see what exactly this dice throne thing is. And
are you on eBay?
Shh, no, I was not on eBay. Lies. Battle Yahtzee. Okay,
Battle Yahtzee. That's a good
best description ever.
Yeah,
Dice throne is Battle Yahtzee. Okay, so Todd already jumped. He already knew what the next question was going to be based on that one. So, do you have what's that?
Look who else commented on there.
Oh, look at there. Mary Kay Huffman. Who is that? Is that a fan of yours? Big
That's
fan
my
of yours?
number one fan.
Your number one fan? I'm surprised she's on there cuddling with that new puppy.
See, she says, what was that Kickstarter? Because I probably told her to do it because it was Cthulhu.
Oh, okay.
She loves Cthulhu background. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is right up her alley.
Okay.
And realistically, it was probably because I already backed 3 at that time or something.
Yeah, right. I should probably do something for her since I've been backing all these games. All right, so you know what the next question's got to be. We just said what our best one was,
and we don't want to get too detailed into like why it was the worst or what happened. No. We just kind of like maybe bad experiences.
Yeah.
And I would have to say, you know what? I think I was going to go with my first time that something didn't go through, but I'm actually going to go with one that I did get, but it just was not an enjoyable experience. And I think that's going to be Subterra. Now, this was a board game again. I do a lot of board games, and I think it was an English company that made it, but it was their first game. There was just a lot of issues, and I did get the game. So it's not like they took the money or run, the absolute worst. There was certain things that rubbed me the wrong way about it.
Right.
And I have the game still upstairs in shrink wrap. It's just, I don't know. I have no real.
Now, wait a minute. Saying that you have something in shrink wrap is not the litmus test for whether or not it was a good game. Because you just put them up on the shelf in shrink wrap and go, ooh, look at this. I have.
Yeah, I want to look at it.
It's in shrink wrap.
It's mint.
That's right. You're that guy that's going to be selling that on eBay, aren't you?
Maybe.
You're that guy. Oh,
well, I tell everybody that's my retirement. That's what it is.
All right.
So when I decide to say I'm done, it's just like, okay, fire sale.
All right. That'll buy you your house down here in the warm South, right?
The mansion,
the podcast mansion. Okay. So mine was a skirmish game. It was a skirmish game that actually the year that I met you, I also stumbled on that game, and that was Eden by Happy Games Factory.
I remember Eden. Yeah.
Yeah. Really fun game. Really simple. Played on a 2x2 board. Lightning fast game. Had some great looking models. And probably the worst part about it is it's like we said about the best one. You don't really expect them to deliver when they say they're going to deliver. You just don't. But if you just communicate with your customers, makes all the difference in the world. And I eventually did get it. But it never heard anything, never knew what was going on. And then they had changed a bunch of stuff. So the miniatures, the resin was weird, and the miniatures were weird scaled. And it was just overall disappointing because I have a ton of their minis that I just love to use in post-apocalyptic stuff. And like I said, it's really fast and really simple. D6, and it's just bam, 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 bam. Really fast game. So that was my disappointing one. And Todd threw his up there. Throw that comment up there.
All right. So Todd says Robotech. Now I've heard this one from a lot of people.
Me too.
And I don't know for sure what happened with this Kickstarter. I think it was a production issue and they didn't plan something right, which is something that happens with a lot of these Kickstarter companies.
Yeah.
Is sometimes they get overextended. Like maybe they came up with too many stretch goals and didn't really plan out the budget well, or maybe delays ended up costing them
Right.
more. So that happens.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of people, one of the things Kickstarters get stuck with is that people think it's a pre-order system.
Right. Right.
Sometimes it's easy to think of that when you think of these big companies like Simon,
Yeah.
these established companies that are on there doing these Kickstarters. And it's gone that way more over the years as opposed to the little guy.
Right.
Now, the reason that a lot of people don't realize they do this is it's like free market research for them. They can figure out how much something's going to cost based on,
Right.
demand for free by having this Kickstarter on there, and they can analyze all these statistics and stuff like that. So when they do go to retail, they can have a better judgment of how many units to produce for the the main public.
And the bigger companies is where you kind of end up getting a little disappointed is when they do it, because like I said, with Eden, with that one, I would still recommend people to check out Happy Games Factory because it is a fun game. But again, they were small. I don't know, they had a lot of stretch goals, that there was a lot of stuff going on. I think they just got overwhelmed flat out. And I see, look at you, Todd.
That's what I was just smiling at.
Look at it, throwing a link up there for me to buy stuff.
He gets it. He gets it. It's support. It's game.
It's a support group. So now Todd also mentioned that Palladium Books was the ones that did Robotech. So I would have thought that was a safe bet too, because I'm a Palladium guy when it comes to my RPGs. I did Rifts, and I much prefer their fantasy settings, but never delivered Wave 2. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. And again, it's easy to armchair quarterback when the companies fail doing stuff. It really is easy, especially if you gave them money.
Yeah,
especially if you gave them money. But if they're crooked, be upset. But the reality is, a lot of the time, we don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. You can speculate all day long, and like I said, you can armchair quarterback. But when it comes right down to it, when you're putting your money in there, it is a calculated risk. I wouldn't say it's not the stock. Well, it's probably the stock market for people like us. It is the stock market. It's like,
it can be.
Let me make an investment in this one. Oh, dang it. Orange juice futures are down. If you catch that reference, you are amazing. If anyone catches that reference.
Now, one of the things I like about Kickstarter is when we talk about all this stuff and it's important in our gaming community, is the community behind a lot of these things.
Yes.
It's an early way to start building a community because they have these chat features where you can get in and comment and start a conversation with other, new fans of a game system. Like, I like to think about Wild West Exodus. Now, I got in on the second one, but not the first one. And the second one is where I started talking to a lot of the community, like Brian and some of the other people in the community. And then after the fact, you get on the forums because they're still kind of, there's still that ball rolling where they're advertising it and stuff like that to keep, through updates to keep you, what's going on. And this is what they're doing. And I got to meet a lot of people that way. So
yeah, that's awesome.
And I know a lot of people get into that where they're not in that same area. So the only way they know these people is through online, and maybe they get online and play online games through Tabletopia or something like that. So that's one cool feature about Kickstarter is they have that ability to connect with other fans of a certain game.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, Todd, ouch. Yeah, that really, that stinks, man, when you're in for a lot on a Kickstarter and it just,
it's like I mentioned before, you're taking that chance in an investment. So think about stocks in a way.
It does. I mean,
not that you're going to get money out of it, make money, but you're going to get a product. So you're taking a chance on somebody. You're helping them get that startup fund.
Yeah. Well, I'd got to go with Todd on that one too, though. You would have thought Palladium Books was going to be a safe.
Yeah.
It's an established company, been around. My rule book copy over there is 1984. So they've been around for a couple weeks, maybe. And look who joined us. Old Todd. There's
another Todd. We got two Todds. Welcome, Todd. Todd 1 and Todd 2.
Todd 1 and Todd 2. So yes, Great game, the WWX. I concur. And we have had the discussion before. I'm more of a fan of first edition than I am second edition. Sorry. Let the hating begin. Let the hating begin. That's right. Put your cowboy hat. And see, that's why. Because cowboy hat on top of a baseball hat is just wrong. That wouldn't have happened in first edition.
Better?
Much better. Much better. Much better. So, yeah. What else you got on Kickstarter? We got a couple minutes left. What else?
A couple minutes. Well, I think the last thing that I'd like to bring up is I want to see if anybody has this feeling. I consider myself a regular Kickstarter person. I mean, I like seeing the perks that you can get out of it, and to save the money. And sometimes some are more exciting based on the updates, the company that the updates has.
Right.
And I think it's something that I am going to keep doing. But you guys watching, if you've been, whether you've been burned or not, is it something that you would like to continue doing with the way that Kickstarter is going? I mentioned pre-order system. Do you have issues with that? I personally don't, because of the reality of these companies that are doing it are using it for research. So it helps them out. Steve Jackson runs great games, Todd says. Well, Steve Jackson is right down the road from you, isn't he, Todd?
Not to mention the fact you just did Car Wars, right?
Yeah, that's another one I'm waiting for. Go. I should make Todd go pick it up and bring it to me, right?
You totally should, man. You totally should. If they hadn't canceled Adepticon again, he could have just brought it to Adepticon.
Yeah. But I mean, I think I want to end it, and the little chat here is it. What do people think about Kickstarter overall? Do you like it? Hate it? It's okay. I'm one of those people that I pretty much only back games on Kickstarter.
Yeah, me too.
Now, a lot of things I think especially in our community, people don't realize there's other things you can back on Kickstarter, whether it's
that's ridiculous. I've never
video
heard
game. You can back a back scratcher, all kinds of crazy things.
That can't be true. That can't be true. You're just making that stuff up. Lies.
So
that's what I like about Kickstarter, is that it does give the smaller guys the opportunity to generate traffic, to be out there on Facebook and Discord and Instagram and generating interest in their game, and then launching and getting the opportunity to put a game out there. And for that model, I personally, with Sean Sutter with Relic Blade, he killed it, man. He had a successful first Kickstarter, wasn't anywhere near as successful as the ones he did after that, because he had spent that time, built up his community. Launched his Kickstarter, had a successful Kickstarter, and then, just like you were saying, the Facebook pages and the groups were just talking about it. And then when it came time for more stuff, and he said, "Hey guys, I'm thinking about doing another Kickstarter," it was like a feeding frenzy. Yeah. It was like you were chumming the water with miniatures.
And he was one of those ones. Yeah, he did unlock stuff during his campaigns, but everything is available. You can go to his website and get anything he had featured on there as an unlock or a stretch goal. Yeah, anybody can get it. So there's no exclusive, models. So
look at that. That's right. I know that's exactly. Todd said he wished he got on the Twisted Kickstarter, but you got that huge lot off of Facebook. Look here, buddy. That's why you put that Dice Thrones game link up there. You're just trying to get back at me for that. That's okay.
He does say he does like Kickstarter, so he's one of the people that do like it. Yeah, whether you've had some bad experiences with it, overall, I think it's still a good thing for the gaming community as a whole. It's a really nice platform for game creators to get their things out in the world. Like I said, whether they're small time, big time, it just helps get games into the world for us.
Yeah.
Addicts. I wasn't going to use that word, but The shoe fits, right?
And the other thing too is remembering too, for anybody that watches this after the fact, is we're not speaking. I've never done a Kickstarter from the backside, so for all I know, it may be a horrible experience to run one. I don't know.
I would imagine it's pretty stressful.
I imagine it's stressful, but it can't be that horrible if so many people are still using it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They would migrate to another platform, because I know there's a couple more platforms out there that do that.
Yeah, there's Indiegogo, and then I think some companies are trying to start their own, like was it Hero Quest that they just had? That was like through kind of their own funding platform type of thing that they're starting. So then there's other ones out there. Oh, I have to give a shout out to my buddy up in the Top Hat of North America, because he made it better late than never.
All right. Welcome, Sir Craig.
Fortunately, and I'm going to call him by his on-screen name because that's how I know him. Spaz, you can rewatch this on YouTube or on our Facebook page. And anybody else that is late to the party, well, you can check it out in the rerun section.
We haven't managed enough hours and followers yet on Twitch, so you can't rewatch it on Twitch. You can only watch it live. So if you don't follow us on Twitch, go over and follow us, because we can't.
Yeah, we're trying to get that going. And there's a lot of stats that we need to hit before we can keep things up in there for rerun for you guys to watch anytime you want. So yeah, please go do like, subscribe, follow, all those little things that keep our madness going.
Yeah, I think it would keep going anyway, but it'd be cool if they were over there. Last two comments I'm going to hit real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. And Todd R threw out there that the Kickstarter gives the bigger established companies no risk launch too, and that's true. Sometimes
market research.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's very true. But Todd P also makes a good point that sometimes there's some games that come out that it's like, why did you put that out? That's a true statement too. But it's like launching your pipe dream, but doing it unprepared. Playtesting is so important. I know at least a couple of us that are in this thread right now have been part of alpha testing and possibly beta testing for some. I've done alpha and beta testing for several different games, and it's a lot of work. If you want the game to work well, it's a lot of work to get all that stuff done. And that's just from the perspective of one person testing. Forget about the fact that you ideally have 30 or 40 people testing and then collating all that information and making the changes that you need to. So to get a good game out there, I think it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yep. Well, all right, guys, I'll go ahead and wrap it up for us. Thank you for joining us on Indie Invasion Shorts. We try to do these every Wednesday. If you missed a live stream, we love it when you guys join us in the live stream, because we can actually interact with you guys.
Yes.
But you can check out our other content that we create, Indie Invasion Podcast, on Podbean, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Stitcher, Spotify, Pocket Cast. I believe we're on Google and all those other places that you can find audio podcasts to listen to on your commutes, or if you're stuck at home working on projects. You can also check us.
You should definitely be listening to us instead of working.
There you go. Put the earbuds in. You can check us out also on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. You can check out us on YouTube, where we have different videos, whether it's audio videos or it's actually video. We like to do some unboxing sometimes and little, show off some minis and stuff like that. We're also on Twitter, Instagram, Discord, Podbean, which I said is our main hosting site. And you can email us at indieinvasion@gmail.com. And then if you want links to a lot of these places, we do have a website. But there's our website right there. All right, Mac.
It's my first time doing the banners, man.
We have links to the podcast on Podbean, the Facebook, I believe YouTube's on there, and newly for us is Discord. So if you guys want to jump onto our Discord channel, start some chatting, we have a link directly on the coastaltext.com website for Indie Invasion. Also, we would really appreciate, you don't have to, if you go to patreon.com/Indie Invasion and you want to throw a couple bucks our way to support us in the content we create, we do have videos and different content up there that is free to view. You don't have to actually pledge any money on Patreon to view this stuff. We offer it to the public. Some of it may be exclusively posted only to Patreon, but you can watch it if you want at your freedom. But that is about it. Thank you guys again.
How about a quick shout out to our 3 awesome patrons?
We have 3 awesome patrons.
We have Todd,
Yep.
Jim, the tabletop engineer, and Boy, all are our patrons, and they are awesome. So if you see them anywhere, I don't know how you would see them anywhere, but on the off chance that you see them somewhere, thank them because they're awesome.
But that's it. We're going to get out of here. And guys, remember when you're out there to prepare yourself for the invasion.